In the vibrant villages of Ghana, where the air hums with stories and the earth holds ancient secrets, every child grows up knowing that wisdom is a treasure more precious than gold. But this is a story about what happens when the cleverest, most cunning creature of all decides he wants to keep every last drop of that treasure for himself. Our story begins with Niam, the great sky god. He looked upon the earth and saw the vastness of its knowledge, the secrets of planting yams, the clever tricks of market traders, the deep mysteries of the jungle, and the rhythms of the stars. Niam decided to gather all this wisdom, every single bit of it, and pour it into a simple clay pot. He then declared that this pot of wisdom would be given to whoever proved themselves worthy. Now, there was one creature who heard this and whose 8 eyes widened with desire, Anansi the spider. Anansi was already known far and wide for his sharp mind and clever schemes, but the thought of possessing all the world's wisdom, it was irresistible. If I have that pot, he schemed to himself, no one will ever outsmart me again. I will be the greatest, the wisest, the most powerful of all. Niam, who sees all things, saw the burning ambition in Anansi's heart. He summoned the little spider. Anansi, the sky god's voice rumbled like distant thunder. You desire this great power. You may have the pot of wisdom, but on one condition. You must carry it to the very top of the highest hill in the land and keep it safe there, forever. Anansi's heart leaped with joy. The condition seemed so simple. He bowed low, snatched the heavy clay pot, and scurried away before Niam could change his mind. Clutching his prize, he hurried through the bustling villages. He passed women rhythmically pounding fufu, their pestles thumping a steady beat. He zipped past children laughing as they played games of ampi, their hands clapping in joyful patterns. He didn't stop. He didn't greet anyone. He certainly didn't share a single word of the wisdom he now possessed. His only thought was the hilltop, his fortress of knowledge. Finally, he reached the base of the great hill. It was steep, covered in tangled roots and slippery rocks. Anansi looked up, then down at the pot. He faced a problem his new wisdom hadn't solved. The pot was round and bulky, far too large to carry while climbing with all his 8 legs. First, he tried tying the pot to his chest, right under his chin. But as he tried to climb, the pot bumped against his face, blocking his view. It was clumsy and awkward. Thwarted, he untied it and tried another way. I know, he thought, I'll tie it to my back. But when he did, the weight of the pot threw off his balance, and he tumbled backward onto the dusty ground. He tried a dozen different ways, growing more and more frustrated with each failure. He, Anansi, the owner of all wisdom, was stuck at the bottom of a hill, defeated by a simple pot. He sat down, fuming, his legs crossed in agitation. How could this be? Just then, a small child, a young girl, came walking along the path. She was carrying a gourd of water, not in her hands, but perfectly balanced on her head, her steps light and sure. She saw the famous Anansi struggling, and stopped, her eyes wide with curiosity. She watched him for a moment and then said in a small, clear voice, Grandfather Anansi, forgive me for speaking, but why are you trying to carry the pot in front of you? Anansi grumbled, how else am I to climb? The little girl tilted her head. Well, she said simply, when we carry heavy loads, we tie them to our backs. That way, our hands and legs are free to help us. Anansi froze. The words of the child, so simple, so obvious, struck him like a bolt of lightning. A child, barely old enough to help grind maize, had just given him a piece of wisdom. And she was right. In that profound moment of stillness, Anansi understood everything. The pot he was holding was supposedly full of all the world's wisdom. And yet, wisdom had just come to him from outside the pot, from the innocent observation of a child. His grand idea was a lie. How could any single container, no matter how magical, hold all of wisdom? Wisdom wasn't a thing to be collected. It lived and breathed in the world, in the experience of a woman pounding fufu, in the games of children, and in the simple, brilliant logic of a little girl carrying water. His heart, once swollen with pride, now felt heavy with shame. He had been a fool. With a newfound strength, Anansi lifted the clay pot high above his head. He looked at it one last time, not with desire, but with understanding. This wisdom, he declared to the wind and the trees, belongs not to one, but to everyone. And with a mighty heave, he threw the pot down onto the rocky hillside. It shattered into 1,000 pieces, but it wasn't just clay that flew through the air. Wisdom itself, freed from its prison, scattered like dandelion seeds in a storm. It flew into every village, every home, and every heart. The rain came and washed particles of wisdom into the farmers' fields, teaching them new ways to make things grow. The wind carried whispers of it to the weavers' looms, inspiring them with new patterns. The children, running and laughing, seemed to catch motes of it in the very air they breathed. From that day forward, wisdom belonged to all the people. It was no longer a treasure to be hoarded, but a gift to be found everywhere in conversations, in nature, in work, and in play. And as for Anansi, the spider who once wanted to keep all wisdom for himself, his quest had changed him. He became the great storyteller, the weaver of tales. Instead of hoarding knowledge, he spent his days scattering stories, spinning webs of narrative that taught a simple, powerful truth. Wisdom that is kept is wisdom that is wasted. It only truly grows when it is shared, because no single person can ever hold all the knowledge in the world, for every one of us carries a piece of the truth. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. If you believe wisdom is for everyone, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales.